Yeah, like it was, well, like it was all that counted, really. So yeah, it was good though.
Yeah, but you managed to get a good result yesterday despite the weather, and a podium today. So, not bad for a first go in Caterhams.
No, I'm happy with that. I was thinking top 10 I'd be happy with. And yesterday, to be honest, I got handed the Ford to some degree. A couple of, like 2 or 3 people went off, and yesterday was tough. I couldn't figure it out at all. All the little nuances that are different with the car are just amplified in the wet completely. And it's just, yeah, understeer, oversteer, wombling free.
But you're enjoying it though?
Oh, of course I am, yeah. It's just not, after a year off, it's nice to be back at the track, especially in the sun. Yesterday, not so much, but...
Yeah. You've got Not Killed coming up, so how do you rate your chances there?
Well, I better set off now, I suppose. Yeah. I've never even played Not Kill on a sim or anything. So I don't know. I'll have to get on the old neeps and tatties and dig out my rain. I need... Not Kill sounds like it might be wet. So I just need some more time in the car, so... But
well, welcome to Caterham Racing. You've managed yourself pretty well, so go and enjoy it, and we'll see you in Scotland.
Cheers, yeah.
Good stuff, well done. Let's see if we can grab as well Harry Eyre in third place, who's over here. He was part of that massive battle pack. He's having a chat with some of the guys that were involved in it. Let's see if we can grab Harry and have a word. Harry, quick word. Well, that was pretty intense, wasn't it? Just massive battling, and everyone wanted to be third, but thankfully you managed to squeeze your way through. And at one point, you had second out quite far out, and then and everyone else caught up.
Yeah, I just couldn't hang on to Blair. I stayed with him for a few laps and made a big mistake and slid off, and then I was on my own, and then it was just a matter of time before everyone caught me. But yeah, I was pleased to hold on to third. A few war wounds on the back, got touched a few times, but got through unscathed mostly, so yeah, pleased with third.
Good stuff. Pace-wise, with the upgrades to the 270R, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it's nicer to drive, especially in the wet yesterday without a windscreen. It was a real treat, but yeah, it's a nicer car to drive in the dry as well. Really good fun.
How do you rate your chance to possibly not kill? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I've not driven the circuit. I've played on racing games, so I kind of know where it goes. But it's going to be a challenge learning it in reality. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, go enjoy your third place. Well done today, and we'll see you next time in Scotland.
Cheers. Thank you.
Great stuff. Well, we've got one more race before we finish up for the morning here before lunch, and that is the first race I know race that both me and Andy have been looking forward to a lot, which is the first race with BRSCC for the Modified Ford Series. They've had one race out at Lyddon with a smaller field. Now it's some 30-plus cars on the grid with all sorts of different blue oval machines. And Andy, I'm pretty certain this is going to be quite an entertaining race given all the variety. What do you reckon?
Thank you, Scott. Well, we've got a bit of a delay to the programme now because there were a couple of errant Caterhams that needed recovering after our previous race for the 270Rs. There's also a car here that we're seeing which is qualifying out of session for our Ford Modified Series race and appears, rather unfortunately, to have broken down. So that is, I think, Jamie Goff in the number 25 Ford Escort Mark II. So it was going around behind the runyourfleet.com Jaguar safety car, and now appears to have stopped. So and it's on the track coming out of the final chicane. Not too sure. It might just be waiting there to join the back of the grid though, because those cars are going to be heading out onto the track very shortly, because this is the first race of the season for the Ford Modified Series, which makes its debut with the British Racing and Sports Car Club. We welcome them on board. We welcome everyone at home watching along for this race on the live stream as well. And what a treat we have for you now with this enormous grid of cars. 36 of them, hopefully, if we can get Jamie Goff on the back of the grid, which it looks like we might do. And great variety as well. It is essentially a one-make championship, but of course it's there are lots of different types of Ford on the grid, all running in different classes as well. So we'll try and keep you abreast of who's doing what in the various classes once we get into the race. I'll start running through the grid now, though, because it might take some time to get all the way through to the bottom of it. It's Dave Cockle that took the pole position after the qualifying session earlier on this morning by 4.3 seconds, which is a mammoth margin. Dave is in his very rapid Ford Escort Cosworth that he's been racing in for many a year now. Number 95 races a lot, I think, in some of the southeastern Tin Tops series and such like. So he's on pole position with Wayne Crabtree even, due to be alongside him. Wayne is in one of my personal favourite cars, which is the Ford RS200, and it's got an insane body kit on that car. It looks almost like the kind of car that would compete at the Pikes Peak hill climb or something like that. Wayne Crabtree, it makes a good sound as well, that RS200 lines up alongside Dave Cockle on the front row. Then we've got a Capri with Simon Light in third position, but it's a Capri like no other. Again, it's gone through some fairly serious modifications. As the title of this championship would suggest, this is after all not the Ford production series, it's the Ford modified series, so these cars heavily modified, which has seen a significant increase in performance for one or two of them. That Capri certainly very rapid. It was only 6/10 slower than Wayne Crabtree's RS200 actually in qualifying. Fourth on the grid will be the first of many Ford Escort Mark IIs. That is the 27 example of Pantelis Christoforou. He leads, or is the pole position sitter, in Class B1, and alongside him, or just behind him on the grid I should say, fifth on the grid, will be Piers Grange in another Mark II Escort. He's second in that same class. Alongside Piers on row number 3 will be number 3, that's Ashley Shelswell in the Ford Sierra XR4i, which is the white number 87. Another different shape and size of car there up towards the front of the grid. We've got Escort Cosworths, RS200s, Capris, Escort Mark IIs, and now a Sierra. Then we've got a Ford Escort RS2000 of Paul Neville that lines up on row 4 with another Mark II of number 101 Malcolm Harding, both of them running in Class B1. Rounding out the top 10 then, number 87 David Matthias in a Ford Sapphire Cosworth, and Neil Jessup in his Mark II Ford Escort, but that's a less modified one than the likes of Malcolm Harding, for example, and Piers Grange and Pantelis Christoforou, because that car is running in Class B. It's actually the pole sitter in Class B is Neil Jessup. Just behind him, Rory Jose in the Ford Focus ST, bringing things a little bit more up to date. And alongside him on row number 6 is Ollie Allen in the number 17 Ford Fiesta Mark III, which is the much more recognisable shape of Ford Escort from probably about 10 years ago now. Row number 7 is headed by one of 4 invitational class cars. Tim Foxlow in his Ford Escort RSR. Wayne Crabtree, by the way, who lines up on the front row, is also in the invitational class. Alongside Tim Foxlow on the 7th row is Tony Paxman in his Class B Ford Escort Mark I, one of the oldest cars on the grid. And then on the 8th row of the grid, we've got number 70 Terry Davis in his Mark II Escort, and Malcolm Wise, another regular down at Brands Hatch and Snetterton, in the number 28 Ford Escort Cosworth. Now, he was one of a few drivers that had lap times disallowed in qualifying, though, for exceeding track limits. You'd expect Malcolm usually to be a little bit further up the order in his yellow and white Ford Escort Cosworth, so expect him to move forward in the race. Brian Lilly lines up on the 9th row alongside Alex Boehm. That's Ford Sierra Cosworth alongside a Ford Fiesta. Nigel Craig is on the 10th row of the grid in an Escort Mark II, and Aaron Tucker in a Ford Sierra 2 litre, running in Class B, rounds out the top 20. 21st on the grid then for number 16 Chris Baker, Ford Escort LRS Mark III, and John Edwards Parton in a Ford Fiesta XR2 is 22nd on the grid. Mark Hadfield in his Ford Puma, a couple of Ford Pumas out there on the grid actually, running in Class C. He has got Darren Owen in his Escort RSR Mark I for company. Darren Owen, another one of those invitational class runners. David Gadd is 25th on the grid in an Escort Mark I, and then the Ford ST150 of Tim Sandu is alongside him on the 13th row, car number 12. Row 14 for number 94, Mac McCarthy, Dr. Evil as he's affectionately known, I believe, in his Ford Fiesta ST150, making a return to racing again these days, Mac McCarthy, and alongside him Kevin Hadfield in the another one of those Ford Pumas. Then you've got Andy Pipe in the number 38 Ford Escort Mark I, and Dominic Ryan in a Fiesta Mark VI, which I think I'm right in saying is, let me just check I'm looking at the right one. That will be, one of the even newer Ford Fiesta shapes, the 127 car. Although I don't think he is on the grid, unfortunately. I know there was a red flag in qualifying, and I wonder whether maybe he was the cause of that red flag, because I can't actually see that car on the grid, unfortunately. Then we have Jimmy Neofito in his Ford Fiesta Mark I Crossflow, number 24, who is there towards the back of the grid, with Daniel Cowan in a Fiesta ST150 again on that row with him. That's the 16th row of the grid. Jack Gadd in a Ford Escort RSR is next, ahead of Dave Barrett in a Fiesta Zetec S, and then the Escort Mark I of Chris Dancer should be at the back of the grid, but I think there are one or two possibly missing from this one. Going to be a rolling start by the way, for this Ford Modified Series race, just because some of these cars are not designed really to be launching off the line from a standing start. So rolling start for the two 15-minute races of the Ford Modified Series. What a tremendous sight they make, though. I mean, some truly iconic cars there, and one or two that I think have some pretty interesting racing backgrounds. One I'm particularly interested to learn about is the number 71 of Brian Lilly, his Class A Ford Sierra Cosworth, which is liveried up like an old Dick Johnson Racing Australian touring car. There, it just goes through shot there, the red and yellow shell liveried car. It's got a 2E's 1000 sticker above the number as well. The 2E's 1000, of course, which used to be the title of the famous Bathurst 1000 race over in Australia. So I wonder if that is an ex-DJR Group A touring car. That would be quite impressive. And if it's not, it is an immaculate copy of a Group A touring car with livery that is, I'd say, absolutely identical to the one that would have run in period. So the cars then make their way out of Redgate Corner and onto their green flag lap, which will then turn into the start of the race, essentially, with the rolling start. And one of the things I love about multi-class racing is that you do get a lot of mixing of those classes. We've got a Class A car on pole in Dave Cockle, then you've got the Invitational Ford RS200 of Wayne Crabtree. The Class B1 cars aren't that far back. Pantelis Christoforou and Piers Grange 4th and 5th on the grid. And all of those different classes of cars will excel in different parts of the circuit, basically. Some of them will be quicker in a straight line, some will be quicker through the corners, some better on the brakes, some will accelerate more quickly. And that generates usually pretty lively racing as they try to establish their position in the line in the early stages. There is the 25 car, by the way, just got a glimpse of that at the back, so that is the car that was not able to get out in qualifying, but Jamie Goff has completed a few laps behind the runyourfleet.com safety car, and so they've been able to stick him onto the back of the grid. The rule is that you have to have completed a certain number of laps of the track before you're allowed to race, and if you can't do that in qualifying, they'll allow you to qualify out of sessions. So they've got him out just before the race gets underway. Sort of a brilliant, so one of the old Zach Speed Capris going through, I think it was, wasn't it, midfield there. Example of some truly iconic machinery out on track, but they're all about to do battle now for 15 minutes of racing around the Donington Park National Circuit. Beautiful conditions now, picture perfect really. Bit of cloud around, but it's still nice and sunny. The temperature's starting to climb. Even the wind has maybe died down a little bit now compared to what it was this morning. Pace car pulls in to the pit lane, then here we go. It's Dave Cockle and Wayne Crabtree on the front row of the grid, ready for what's about to be a very spectacular and a very noisy start to the race, I imagine. They look towards the light in gantry. When the red lights go out, they'll be away in racing. That happens now. The thunder roars as they head towards Redgate Corner, and it's a good start made by Wayne Crabtree from the outside of row number 1, but Dave Cockle is trying to hang on in there on the inside line. There's a bit of a squeeze there from Cockle as he turns into turn number 1 first, and Cockle, did he manage to make that stick? I'm not sure. They're still side by side, and Cockle is sideways actually as he got a bit too aggressive on the power. One or two of them running into that sort of a problem as they come out of the turn number 1. Some of these very powerful rear-wheel drive cars must be quite lively on cold tyres, so that means that Cockle holds the lead. Crabtree second, third then is the Capri of Simon Light. Stayed in grid order for the top 3. Malcolm Wise comes through there in his yellow Ford Escort Cosworth. They are all thankfully cleanly through the first sequence of corners. There's one of those Pumas. Again, even that is nothing like a road-going Puma. Mark Hadfield, that is, in one of the front-running Class C cars as they work their way up to the top of the hill. Ashley Shelswell there in the Sierra XR4i is on the tail immediately of number 56, Piers Grange. They started 5th and 6th. They're still in those positions as they work their way down the exhibition straight. So into the chicane for the first time. Then Dave Cockle, who was 4.3 seconds quicker than anybody else in qualifying, which is why I think Wayne Crabtree was so aggressive going into the first corner, trying to give him the big squeeze as they turned in, because he knows that if he can't get ahead of Cockle in the early stages here, it's going to be very hard to do so later on. And already as they cross the line at the end of lap number 1, it's 1.6 second cushion between Cockle in the lead and Crabtree in second. He too is getting away from Simon Light in third. He was under pressure there from the 101, which is Malcolm Harding, who started 8th on the grid. Harding was going for third then as they went into Redgate Corner. I'm not sure whether he made that stick, but he was certainly fully alongside as they went through the right-hander and worked their way down the straight. Got a car coming into the pit lane, I'm afraid, further back. That is the number 2 Fiesta XR2 of John Edwards Park, unfortunately, with its funky looking jigsaw livery. Unfortunately, he's pulling into the pit lane very slowly, so early issues for him, but no issues at all for Dave Cockle once he survived that big squeeze by Wayne Crabtree into Redgate Corner. He has started to get away. This battle's still raging for 5th. Piers Grange with Ashley Shelswell right on his tail. As we've said, multiple classes at play here, so Shelswell is a Class A car, so he's in the same class in theory as Dave Cockle, the race leader. Whereas Piers Grange ahead of him is one of the front-running Class B1 cars. There is Cockle, the leader, coming out of the chicane. Crabtree a bit lonely in second place now in that stunning Ford RS200. Dave Cockle, unsurprisingly, setting the pace here with a new fastest lap of 1 minute 13.9. He's about 2.2 seconds off his pole position time, though, so there's more pace to be had out of that Escort Cosworth, I think. Third position then for Simon Light, still 4th place for Malcolm Harding. And then you've got that Grange and Shelswell battle, and then behind them, number 87 there dives up the inside, and that is David Matthias and his Sapphire Cosworth gaining a place at the expense of the 33 of Paul Neville in his Escort RS2000. So, well, he got the place. Oh, yeah, sorry, no, he does hold on to the place. We've got 2 Escorts battling with 2 Sierras here, and the Sierras now about to find themselves the meat in that Escort sandwich as they drop through the old hairpin. In the other classes, as I said, there are lots of them out there. In Class A, it is Cockle that leads the way. Crabtree, who is 2nd overall, leads the Invitational class. Harding, moving up to 4th place, means that he's taken over the Class B1 lead. As this battle continues to rage up to the top of the hill. And in fact, the Sierras now side by side. Up the inside goes the number 3 of Ashley Shelswell, defending that position from David Matthias. Matthias started a few places behind him, but he's really got back onto his tail. And these two are fighting for Class A position. This is the fight for 3rd in class as they work their way down towards the chicane once again. Just finished going through those classes. Class B being led at the moment by number 83, Neil Jessup. He was on pole position in his Ford Escort Mark II. And Class C being led by the 124 car a bit further down the order. That's Alex Bone in the Ford Fiesta. So, race getting underway pretty energetically here, certainly amongst some of these midfielders, and another challenge on the inside there. Piers Grange, I think, about to finally lose that place now, isn't he, to Shelswell. They're still side by side coming off the corner, but Shelswell's got the inside line through Hollywood, and I think he will now move the Sierra through. Yes, he does, so he moves into 5th position. This, Scott Woodward, is turning into rather a tasty battle.
It really is. It's a fantastic spectacle to watch the 30-plus cars. That's not such a great spectacle. That's one of the Fiestas off in the gravel track. That's number 13, Dave Barrett in his Fiesta. I think it's a Mark V, I think. So that's off on the exit of McLean's. He might be in trouble. There's someone who's a stalwart of that particular car, Malcolm Wise, and his distinctive white and yellow Ford Escort Cosworth with the WRC style body kit on it. And there goes Piers Grange up the inside of the 87 of Matthias. That was interesting because he did that possibly just as he was going into the yellow flag zone. So that's intriguing. Whether he had his nose in front just as they went into it, I think that might be a bone of contention unless he was clearly in front. But even so, Paul Neville getting into the mix, and also is the 27 car, and that is another Escort in the mix. And that is of 27. It's Christoforou.
Oh yeah, Pantelis Christoforou, yeah. So 4th place on the grid
yes.
for him, wasn't it? Yeah, I hadn't spotted that he dropped down the order so much, actually. Number 12 in the pit lane, by the way, as well. We've got a few coming in with dramas in the early stages here.
Yeah, number 12 is Tim Sandu in that rather distinctive, hard-to-miss fluorescent pink Ford Focus. That's the Mark II generation Ford Focus that's certainly making itself seen, but maybe not heard as well as it might like to be. Also, we've got a Fiesta ST150 in the pit lane. I think that's the 113, I think, of...
yeah, all the way
Jose.
around. So, 113 is Rory Jose. Yeah, sorry, you are right, yeah. And then number 12 is Tim Sandu in the Ford Fiesta. So Jose is the Focus, and then Sandu is the Fiesta. If any of that made any sense, I'd be amazed. But that's the problem. We've got 35 Fords out there, and the models all tend to start with an F, of course, these days, don't they? Focus or Fiesta. It can get a bit confusing. That's my story anyway, and I'm sticking to it. Through Redgate goes this battle in the midfield, and as you can see, wherever you are, you've got someone to play with on this grid, but not long to play with them, because it's only a 15-minute race, this. If they've got to get a bit of a move on, and already some of the race leaders are getting embroiled in the back markers now. Wayne Crabtree, I can see, has just made his way past a group of the slower cars running in classes B and C further down the order. This, though, really is the race, isn't it? And Piers Grange has been in the thick of the action all race long. Ashley Shelswell well has got past him already, and now the other Sierra, the Sapphire Cosworth, sorry, I should say, of David Mathias, is trying to get through into Redgate Corner. They've got company behind, haven't they, as well, from the number 27, which is Pantelis Christoforou, who is a bit out of position after that slow start. Out of the corner, the Sapphire had the better traction through the turn, but the Escort has the power coming off. This is what I was saying pre-race, Scott. When you've got such a wide variety of car out there, yes, they all run under the blue oval banner, but such great variety of performance, it does create this fascinating racing whereby some of the cars have more power, some of them are better through the corners, and that always generates excitement.
It does, and multi-class racing is always a fantastic spectacle, whether it's endurance racing or sprint. Particularly when it's a sprint, you get so much action in such a short space of time, and you do get some cars that you don't normally expect to match up against each other, even different classes. You see here that a fantastic battle between the number 24 Fiesta of Neophyta, and he's having a battle there with the number, I think, 94 car of which is the 94 Class B Escort of McCarthy's that come down the back straight. And this battle that's going on here is the scrap that's for 4th and 5th overall, and this is also the B1 class leader and the 3rd place man in the Class A. So good scraps amongst these two as they come through. Also watch out one of the way past a rather scared Ford Puma. That's number 21, which is the car of, there's 2 Ford Pumas, both driven by Hadfield, which is helpful. Mark Hadfield. The other one, of course, which is Kevin Hadfield, and that's the one with the more extreme body kit on it. So he started quite further back. So plenty of lappery going on here between some of the perceivably slower cars. That's actually number 15 that he's battling away with. 15 car, which is the Escort of Dancer. So he's having a slightly not as good race as he was anticipating, but he's back down, as I can see, in 29th position. So all sorts going on, lots of multi-class battles going on whilst other classes are being lapped by faster cars. So plenty going on and plenty to talk about.
Yes, and now in theory the quicker cars that are doing lapping have a bit more power, so they shouldn't be having too much of a difficulty getting past the slower runners. But of course, if they catch them through the corners, it's all of a sudden not quite as easy for them to go through, and that's what Piers Grange found there. He caught that group going through the Craner curves. Oh, big spin, and that's from 3rd place. That is Simon Light with a huge moment at Coppice. Don't tell me he's going to save that and hang on to 3rd position. Surely he's lost at least 1 place as a result. The magnificent Ford Capri S with a huge cloud of dust kicked up. That was remarkable car control.
Well, he's about to lose 3rd if he's not careful, because here comes Malcolm Harding and also the Shellswell Sierra, and they both head round the outside. So whether that's just him staying out of the way because he might have possibly damaged something, I'm not sure. But it's now the Escort up into 3rd place, the Sierra up to 4th, and Light now manages to get himself back up to speed now. He's trying to shake, I think, some of the gravel or dust that was in there. We'll just weave the car around to make sure it's all as straight and proper as it should be. Now a change for 3rd now as Shellswell does make a dive up the inside of that beautiful Malcolm Harding Escort, and up into 3rd place he goes. So within the space of a few corners, we've had basically three different people in 3rd place.
Yeah, dramatic stuff there, and I think it might take Simon Light the best part of a lap just to catch his breath after that, because that took some saving. I don't know how he got there, whether he tripped over a back marker or something, but did a really, really good job to hang on to it. So Dave Cockle now then has a 5.8 second lead over Wayne Crabtree, who is now, well, nearly 20 seconds. If I know he's 22 seconds, isn't he, ahead of Harding in 3rd. What have we spotted?
Number 71, the Dick Johnson-esque looking Sierra, which has been driven by Lily. Looks like he had quite a bit of a wiggle exiting the final chicane, but he managed to keep it in the straight line. So probably driving it not unlike how Dick Johnson used to drive his. What have we spotted?
I think the leader's slowing. Dave Cockle. Is that Cockle?
It looks like it.
It is, isn't it? He's lost the lead to Wayne Crabtree.
Yeah, yeah, Dave Cockle's slowing down. Good spotted.
Wow, so we need to try and pick that up. They're going down through the Craner curves now. We've had a change of lead because there is an issue for Dave Cockle. I don't know whether he'd been off and was just recovering or whether he's down on pace, but there is Wayne Crabtree then. He has the race lead, and somewhere behind him, going slowly, is Dave Cockle, we think, who was running away with this, 4 seconds quicker than anyone in qualifying earlier on this morning, and now it looks as though he's given the lead away. We'll see if we can hang on until he appears, but it might be some wait now because he was going quite slowly. And well, let's see. Wayne Crabtree, though, I'm not going to be disappointed if that RS200 wins the race. I'm going to be honest with you, Scott, because it's probably my favourite car out there, although there are several candidates actually for that honour. But that is a stunning looking car. I don't know what the history of that car is, but it's a very welcome addition to the grid. It is.
I have to admit, being a Group B fan myself, I have to admit that's probably my favourite as well in some cases. And the fun thing is it hasn't got a Ford engine in it. It's got a 2. If you hear that he's on the cameras, or it sounds like a bit of a V8, but it's not. It's actually a 2-litre Boxer Subaru engine in the back of the car. So it's not a Ford V8. It actually rumbles past us. It always doesn't sound like a WRX in many cases. It's probably got a more extreme exhaust system on it, but yeah, that is a wonderful looking car. It looks like it belongs to either Pikes Peak or in the old school IMS GTO class in some cases, but In fact, there was a Ford RS200 that did into GTO back in the day. It's quite rare. There's only about a couple of them that were ever made, but fantastic looking machine. Now then, this is a scrap that's going on for what is now third place again, because Shelswell has now moved up into what looks like second place, although let's just confirm that as he comes across the line, because Cockell probably wouldn't have come through. No, he hasn't. So sadly we've lost Dave Cockell, which is unfortunate. So now it means that Shelswell is into second place, Harding now into, well, he was third, but again, the fourth or fifth change in about 4 or 5 laps, 2 laps. Another car that's slow, and that's the Kevin Hadfield Puma's also going slowly on the pit straight. So 1 or 2 cars hitting issues, including our erstwhile race leader up to a few moments ago, Dave Cockell, I think he's in the pit lane and crawling rather slower than he'd like to be, unfortunately, Andy.
Yes, that's a sorry sight. He races that car quite a lot down south, as you can recall. He and Malcolm Wise, I think, are regulars down at Brands Hatch and Snetterton, aren't they, in some of the southeastern series. So the car, it's always struck me as very highly strung, that car, though, and it does sometimes run into mechanical dramas. But thankfully, not the case for these two, because we're rather enjoying this fight for third. Simon Light trying to get himself back on the podium now, and if he's going to do that, he needs to try and find a way past the 101 of Malcolm Harding, who started this race 8th, but in traffic he gets held up, runs out wide, and Simon Light goes up the inside. Needed no second invitation. Now Simon's got 2 minutes left to try and catch and pass Ashley Shelswell, who at the start of the lap was about 2.7 seconds ahead of these two, although actually, first of all, he's got to fend off a resurgent Malcolm Harding there, who was trying to get back up the inside through the chicane. Again, the Capri has more power, but the Escort may be a bit more nimble through the corners. Across the line they go then, probably 2 laps left in the race, and the gap between Light in second and Shelswell in third has got up to nearly 5 seconds.
Yeah, so it looks as though at least at the moment it's pretty secure. Paul Neville's going on the attack of the 27 of Christopher Fiery, just a little bit of a small slide of oversteer on the exit, but Paul manages to pick up another place and goes up into 6th position, and so both quite ahead of although Piers Grange is ahead of them both. They've got the Dave Matthias Sierra Sapphire not too far away from that. This could be quite an interesting battle for position here, because you've now got 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th now nose to tail, so it's a couple of cars all in the mix together. Meanwhile, Wayne Crabtree just winds his way. I thought he was going quite carefully through the final chicane. I thought for a second he was hitting trouble, but just keeping nice and steady now. He's in quite a lead. Across the line he goes, and this will be the last lap of the race, so I'm going to have to disappear for the final lap. But yeah, it looks as though, at least on paper at least, for the moment, unless I'm about to put the curse on it, that Wayne Crabtree, and right now, looks as though he's on course to pick up a fairly decent and fairly substantial win over the rest of the field and that beautiful RS200.
Yeah, he's certainly done everything right so far, and although it will be a lucky win, it's still a win, and he's in an invitational class car anyway, so I don't know whether he's going to be here for the full season, but great addition to the grid is the RS200, and it does look as though it's going to take the victory. It's only half a lap now away from taking that checkered flag in this, our final race before the lunch break from Donington Park. So Wayne Crabtree then with the advantage. He's going to win it by nearly 30 seconds, maybe just over 30 seconds potentially, by the time he gets to the line. Through Coppice Corner he goes, out onto the exhibition straight. This isn't the only multi-class race we've got here today either. We've got the Aston Martin Owners Club here with their GT, GT4 and Intermark series, which will have a race later on this afternoon. But for now, it's all about the blue oval, and it's all really about Wayne Crabtree in his beautiful Ford RS200, which comes out of the final chicane. It sees the checkered flag, and it wins the opening race of the day for the Ford Modified Series here at Donington Park. Into the pit lane, you can see in the background is limping the number 21 Ford Puma of Mark Hadfield. So sadly, both of the Hadfields had a couple of dramas in that one. Now, second place, is it going to be Shelswell or is it going to be Simon Light? The gap came down by about a second a lap ago, but I don't think Simon Light's quite going to have time to get there. Here they come into the chicane again. There's a bit of back markers between them. It's the white car there with the blue back of Shelswell that goes through in second. There is the Capri of Simon Light in third. So it's going to be Shelswell second. Third is going to go to Simon Light in the Capri, and that means and of course they were fighting for the class victories. That was a battle of extra significance, because it wasn't just for the second place overall, but also for class honours. Malcolm Wise there diving up the inside, trying to gain one more position. I think that was before the end, number 96 that was, that he went up the inside of. And was that for position, Malcolm Wise? No, it wasn't actually. He was lapping the 96 car. which was Nigel Craig in his Mark II Ford Escort. So Crabtree takes the victory in the Invitational class, then Shelswell wins in Class A. Malcolm Harding, after that brilliant start, held on to 4th place overall and took the Class B1 honours with it. It was quite close in B1 actually, because he was only 3 seconds ahead of Piers Grange, who was only 2.5 seconds ahead of Pantelis Christoforou in 6th position overall, 4th, 5th and 6th, the top 3 in Class B1. Then in Class B, it was number 83 Neil Jessup that won in his Ford Escort Mark II. And in Class C, it was the 1-2-4 of Alex Boehm in his Ford Fiesta Victorious. And I think that was it for Class Victors. We lost a handful of them to the pit lane over the course of the race, but it was still a magnificent spectacle. And we get to do it all again this afternoon. At about 6 o'clock this afternoon, the Ford Modified Series will have their second race of the weekend. Results then of our first Ford Modified Series race of the weekend. Wayne Crabtree with the win and wins in class as well. Class A is won by Ashley Shelswell in 2nd with Simon Light 3rd. Malcolm Harding wins in B1 in 4th position with Piers Grange 5th. Pantelis Christoforou is 6th. David Matthias 7th ahead of Paul Neville. Then it was Malcolm Wise and Neil Jessup. Then Terry Davis, Tim Foxlow, Tony Paxman, Darren Owen and Brian Lilly to round out the top 15. Brian Tucker was next with Alex Boehm winning in Class C. David Gadd was 18th, Nigel Craig 19th and Andy Pipe rounding out the top 20. Then it was Matt McCarthy, Chris Baker, Jamie Goff I don't think was running at the end, but Mark Hadfield was technically, although he was in the pit lane I think when he took the checkered flag. Kevin Hadfield was next ahead of Daniel Cowan. Jimmy Neophyto, Dave Barrett was next, and then we know that Dave Cockle retired to the pit lane, so did a number of others. Chris Dancer, Rory Jost, Tim Sandu and John Edwards-Parton was in very, very early indeed. So shame that we lost a few of them, but the ones that we did have out there on track were putting on a heck of a show, and they will do so again a little bit later on today in the Modified Ford Series. That is the last race we've got before lunch, but don't go anywhere because apart from anything, we're going to hear from some of the drivers in Parc Ferme, but we will also have a full programme of racing this afternoon. 7 more races to go. We've got the final Caterham action of the weekend coming up at about 2:30 with the Caterham 7 UK Championship and the 310Rs. Then we will have the first of 2 Aston Martin Owners Club races. The Jack Fairman and Innis Island race will be at about 3:10. That's for the historic cars. Then the very exciting opening round of the Nankang Tyre BRSCC City Car Cup. Its first ever race, and we've got nearly 40 cars on the grid. That's going to be a real spectacle at about 4:05. The Aston Martin Owners Club GT, GT4 and Intermark series will be up at 20:05. Then we have the third and final race of the weekend for the Avon Tyres National Formula 4 Championship at 5:35. The Ford Modified Series is up at 6:05 for their second race. They're the cars we've just had out on track. And then we round things out with the Nankang Tyre BRSCC City Car Cup's second race, a 20-minute race which will start at 6:35, all being well. So we have, as I said, lots more racing coming your way. We are about to go into the lunch break, but we should get that racing back underway at around about 2:30. So make sure you're back again by 2:30 to try and to enjoy the afternoon's racing action. If it's anything like what we've seen this morning, then it should be thrill-a-minute stuff, really. So really looking forward to the rest of the day. And if you want more information on any of the BRSCC championships, head over to their website, www.brscc.co.uk, where you can also find information on upcoming race events, because the really good news is that before too much longer, we should be able to welcome spectators back trackside for our race events, and we cannot wait to have you here at Donington Park or any of the circuits around the UK to enjoy some of the best club racing that the UK has to offer. So if you're interested in coming along to see a race event, then head to the BRSCC website. That will show you all of the information with what's racing, or the timetables, things like that, and you can plan your weekend. And I know there are many of you at home who have been wishing to get back trackside and enjoy a weekend of live motorsport. In the meantime, we're glad that we can bring you it into your homes with the live stream, but we would much rather have you here trackside, which we hopefully will be able to do in the near future. So Scott Woodward's then making his way down to the Parc Ferme area to have a chat with our drivers from the Ford Modified Series. I don't know if he'll be able to find all of the class winners or just the top 3 finishers overall, but Scott will be able to take us through that, and then we will be into our lunch break. and a chance for everyone here at the track to have a much needed breather. It's been a busy morning. A chance to give a shout out as well to the marshals out around the track, who yesterday were stood out there in pretty filthy conditions, getting soaked through, dealing as professionally as ever with the various incidents that occurred, and they've done the same again today as well. We've had relatively little in the way of interruptions, really. A couple of red flags in qualifying earlier on this morning. We've had the odd safety car appearance today. We can actually see there the safety car leading around one of the City Car Cup cars, which is just qualifying out of session. But marshals, all of them are volunteer marshals, doing this just for the love of the sport, and I know it's become a little bit, everyone wants to thank the marshals these days, don't they? And it's become a tradition really of ours as commentators to do so, but we really do appreciate the work they do, and without them we couldn't enjoy motorsport. So a big thanks to them and all of the BRSCC officials here. If you're interested, by the way, in getting involved in either marshalling or officialing, then I do urge you to do so. Head over to the British Motorsport Marshals Club website to find out information on how to become a marshal. If you want to come and work with the BRSCC as a race official, though, then there are many job openings available. If you inquire via the BRSCC's email address, which again you can find on their website, then I know the BRSCC are looking for enthusiastic motorsport fans to come and work in the paddock, be that in race control perhaps, or as a championship coordinator. There are many jobs for you within the BRSCC, and they'd be happy to talk you through the various opportunities available. So, still waiting for Scott Woodwis. I don't know where Scott Woodwis has got to. I wonder if he's been distracted by the Ford modified cars as they were peeling into the paddock. It's quite easy to get sidetracked admiring some of the cars we've just had out on track right now, but Scott, I trust is on his way down there, although I believe maybe not. So what we're going to do, I think we'll leave you in peace for the time being. We're into our lunch break now anyway, and we'll be back at around about 2:30 this afternoon to take you through the afternoon racing. In fact, there you can see on your screen, 2:25 we'll be back for the 7 races that we're bringing your way from Donington Park later on this afternoon.